NextLevelMetaMAN here, and this is the day after the Bluefoot, Georgia regional. And during this regional, I learned 3 handy dandy things. The first one being Corinne should probably be fucking banned. The spider exceeds 7 deadly sins or 7 sins or whatever can end a person's whole career, and players really don't like Kaiju. So let's talk about the last one. Now, for those who've been watching me for a while, you can go ahead and check out this video here. Discussion I did on Kaijus and how they could possibly be that one card that people splash into their deck, sort of like Regeki, and maybe they could replace that in the main deck. But I got hit with a lot of insight from the community, and the fact that a lot of the community feels that Kaijus is a problem. Now, before I tell you my thoughts on it, I'll go ahead and tell you the general consensus is that Konami has made an archetype, aka labeled the side deck archetype. A side deck that would include outs to any boss monster that Konami could ever make. And that is probably bad for the game. To be able to have an instant card out to whatever board, lockdown, or boss monster any deck can bring out is a bit too free. The fact that they're inherent special summons and the fact that they get over pretty much anything calls for a lot of concern. Not just for the game right now, but the game in the future. People have been talking about eroding them. People have been talking about banning all of them. People generally say Konami has to do something to the Kaijus, and I never thought about this before. Now, to get into a little bit of my previous, assessment of Kaijus before listening to all the people's opinions at this regional, is that I always saw them as a preventative measure. If there's a bunch of decks that are lockdown oriented, Kaijus will see a lot more play in the side deck. Probably not the main deck unless you're crazy like me, but they'll be restricted to that sort of use. The problem that a lot of people are seeing with this especially is the fact that it is an unskillful way to get over really established boards. Honestly, like the Regeki of the future. People honestly completely agree with me on the whole Kaijus could be the new Regeki thing, but from their perspective, it's a bit too much. But also think about it like this. What would we do without the Kaijus if it wasn't for Herald? What would we do about Kaijus if it wasn't for those Yang Zing first turn plays? Kaijus help out in a lot of subtle ways, but are they unhealthy for the game? Maybe they are too good at what they're trying to do. And right now, I still do feel that Kaijus is a necessary evil, but I'm starting to sway onto their side. Now, continuing the video from the sort of standpoint that Kaijus are unhealthy for the game, whether or not I personally believe that or not, how on earth could Konami deal with the issue? Granted, most of my understanding of where these guys are coming from honestly stems from me playing a lot of Dark Law and Lockdown decks in the past. You don't know how frustrating it was to have someone top deck Regeki on me 3 times in a row when I have an established Dark Law field. It's frustrating, it's aggravating. They play one card and all my hard work and effort goes down the drain. This could be the same feeling that people feel with Kaijus. All that effort, all that thought going into establishing a board, gone in an instant. And your opponent just beats back everything you had or have and sets up an easy to make board of their own with essentially a easy out to anything you could have possibly made. Unless you top it off with a Vanities or a Christia. There's no real way around that. Now, to be honest with you, originally I thought Kaijus were almost a god's gift to Yu-Gi-Oh! In its current state. Every deck seems to have lockdown potential. Every deck seems to be able to make these really strong, crazy boards. But I am starting to agree. Maybe in the future, it's a bit too much. Once Yu-Gi-Oh! Moves past this whole first turn lockdown, break my board style of play, the Kaijus probably need to go somewhere. Or, on another thought, maybe they won't even be used at that point. Maybe the fact that the Kaijus are so prevalent and so strong is because decks are so focused on lockdown. Turn 1 board, turn 1 setups. So maybe Konami doesn't even have to do anything to them in the future. Maybe they're just a fad of the time. But another avenue is maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't go back to how it was before. Maybe lockdown and board setup is essentially how Yu-Gi-Oh! Will be played in the future, which I will obviously adapt to. But to be honest, I think that the best way to deal with Kaijus and their prevalence is honestly just make better traps. What I see Kaijus is a way to punish overextension. Cards like Heavy Storm, cards like Regeki, cards like Dark Hole, they punish overextension. They punish you from taking your entire hand and slapping it on the field. If you want to do that, fine. You always have the option to do that. But if I have the correct card, I'm going to punish you heavily for that. I feel like something like that should be in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I feel like that's where the Kaiju's role to play right now. But as of right now, what are people's options if not to make a strong board? To get OTK'd by their opponent? It's not like they have the adequate enough protection to be able to withstand an all-out attack by their opponent. Every deck has access to popping back row along with cards like Twin Twister. So how do you protect yourself? Battle Fader? Gores? These cards get in your way more than they ever help you nowadays, unless you're running something pretty niche, right? I guess I made this quick video pretty much to say, what do you guys think about Kaijus? Do you feel like they're going to be a problem in the future, or do you think they're just a fad? Do you think Konami will have to do something drastic like errata the entire archetype, or limit a bunch of the really good ones? To be honest with you, I don't know. I feel like Kaijus will have to be something that will either just get phased out of the game or always just be a go-to thing to alleviate stress. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Kaijuing over a Herald established board is the greatest feeling in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! To this day. Peace.